Hello, my name is Julia Gustafson. Today, after listening to my speech, I hope that you all have a better understanding of what molded me into who I am today. There will come a day when we all become old and look back on life and thank God for all of the beautiful and sometimes tragic times in our lives, and realize how they have shaped us into who we are. I will be talking about personal life stories, and I'm here to remind you that life is a journey. Don't forget to enjoy it even in the hard times. Today I'm going to be talking about the split between my family, some of the hardest years of my life, and a fresh start. First of all, the fable I have chosen is Dancing with Monkeys by Aesop's Fables and aesopsfables.com on Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. This fable is based on a prince who trained monkeys to dance. Because monkeys are great mimics, they show themselves to be unusually intelligent. When they had on their rich clothes and masks, they danced as well as any of the other courtiers. The performance was often repeated in great applause, until on one occasion a courtier pulled out of his pocket a handful of nuts and threw them on the stage. Once the monkeys noticed the nuts, they forgot their dancing and became monkeys as they were, instead of dancers, pulling off their masks and robes and fighting with each other for the nuts. This spectacle came to an end among the laughter and ridicule of the audience. In the end, this fable represents that not everything you see is what it appears to be. Personally, this fable represents that we can't always understand why certain things are happening to us. However, I promise there is always a greater purpose. The first personal season I'm going to be talking about is the split between my family. My extended family was Catholic, we were Christian. Some of you may know where I'm going with this. My parents grew up Catholic but didn't understand that there was much of a difference between the two faiths. Much less, they didn't think they were offending their parents by switching churches. When my grandparents found out about the switch, they began putting up walls between us, and soon enough we weren't invited to family holidays or family trips. Before I knew it, the bond I had with my cousins began slipping away. The split between my family went on for 6 years. It wasn't until my family went through some tragedy that I will touch on soon that my family began to reunite. My cousins and I began to rebuild our relationships, and I began to get to know my grandparents again. I don't look back on these times and wish they never happened. I look back on these times and recognize how they have brought my family closer and more unified. Secondly, another personal season I wanted to talk about was some of the toughest years of my life. When my brother was 13, he was prescribed a drug to relieve the pain from a health condition he was facing. Being that he was so young, he only looked at this drug as the reason that his pain was gone. He didn't realize how dangerous they were, and truly neither did my parents. A couple years later, he began experimenting with drugs, and soon enough, he was totally engulfed in this lifestyle. For 9 years, he was in and out of group homes and rehabs. My parents were truly horrified, and truthfully, my siblings and I were just angry. There then came a turning point. After 9 long years of constant fear and worry, my brother decided to let go of his addiction. He went to a rehab in Tennessee, and this one worked. My brother found his faith in God, and he moved home. It is now 3 years later, he is 3 years clean, and he's truly living a happy life. My siblings and I let go of our anger, and my parents let go of the constant fear that had latched itself to them. I wouldn't wish this tragedy upon anyone, but I do know that without it, my family, including my brother, wouldn't be who we are today. Lastly, the third personal season I wanted to talk about is a fresh start. Moving away from Wisconsin was spontaneous. One second we were on our way to our cottage, and the next we turned around and came to North Carolina, literally. 1 year later, our house was still not sold, but we were in our new house in North Carolina. From the very beginning, I was ecstatic. I knew it was going to be much warmer, closer to the beach, and a place friends and family would want to visit. Moving to North Carolina made it obvious who our true friends were. When friends or family would visit, they would come for much longer visits because it was more like a vacation for them. Changing homes, meeting new people, and moving across the country was obviously a huge change, but I know that it happened for a reason, and I wouldn't change it for the world. No matter how scary things seem in the moment, like everything, it will pass. As my story comes to an end, I tell you these things not because I am asking for sympathy, because truly compared to some people, I had it easy. I tell you because sometimes when you are going through a hard season, it feels like it will never pass, but it will, I promise. Life is a journey, don't forget to enjoy it even in the hard times. A quote by Dozan Tamana and keepinspiring.me on Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. It is only in our darkest hours that we may discover the true strength of the brilliant light within ourselves that can never, ever be dimmed. Remember that life is going to throw you troubles. It is up to you how you let it affect you. Don't let your troubles scar you, let them mold you. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Wow, you guys are great.